Navid, Navid, do you have the Wi-Fi password?
We're in front of 5,000 people and you want the Wi-Fi password?
Yeah, I know, but I want to show the Instabridge demo video and my 3G is so slow.
Jason.
Okay.
Jason, I know that
name.
most of the people came without paying, but we need some writing pads because otherwise we cannot give grades to the...
Has and papers for the judges. So the network name is Pretty Fly for a Wi-Fi.
Okay, Pretty Fly.
Password is 5 lowercase e, capital O.
Okay,
wait,
hold on. How many of you have had this problem? You're at a friend's place or you're in an office and you want to use the Wi-Fi, but nobody knows the Wi-Fi password. Well, that ends today, because today we're launching Instabridge. So let's see how that exact same thing would have looked if I was using Instabridge. So this is me. I'm coming over to Navid's place, and I get a notification saying that Navid has Wi-Fi here. I click that notification, I come into Instabridge, and I see, just like a normal Wi-Fi client, I see a list of the nearby Wi-Fi networks. But the top one is Navid's network, and I see his Facebook profile picture in his name. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to request access. And hopefully, Navid will approve me. And if he does, then there you go. Then I'm immediately connected to his Wi-Fi. But not only is my phone connected to his Wi-Fi, but all of my devices that are running Instabridge. So if you have a tablet and a smartphone, then they're both connected to all the Wi-Fi networks you have on Instabridge. And it's all made in software. There's no hardware to install. It's just a cloud-based platform and an app. So this router here, for example, is just a standard $49 router. And if one of my friends changes their password, it's updated and synced across all of my devices. But not only can I use my friends' Wi-Fi networks, I can also use their friends' Wi-Fi networks. So, for example, let's say I'm sitting at a cafe and Navid's girlfriend lives just above, and I want to use her Wi-Fi network. So you can go in here, and here we can actually see all of the networks that I can access through Instabridge. And these are my actual networks, just a couple of weeks after we launched this as a beta trial in Sweden. And the solid red flags, those are my friends. The transparent red ones, those are my friends of friends. So I can just click on one of those flags, I can click request access, and if they approve me, I'm immediately connected. But what if I'm sharing Wi-Fi with somebody and I no longer want them to have access? For example, I just broke up with my girlfriend and I no longer want her to use my Wi-Fi. Well, I go into my friends list, I find her in the list, I click her name, and I immediately stop sharing with her. But if you're like me, not only do you want to have Wi-Fi when you're home at your friends or home at your friends of friends, you want to have Wi-Fi everywhere you go. That's why we also have something we call the Instabridge community. And the Instabridge community, that's a way for me to share Wi-Fi with everybody else that's using Instabridge and get access to all other Wi-Fi networks being shared by the Instabridge community. So that's Instabridge. We're building the largest Wi-Fi network on the planet. We're raising a €1 million seed round. Go into instabridge.com, get the app, and if you have any questions, you can email us right there. Thank you so much.
Okay, excellent, great. Judges, thoughts on Instabridge? Easily share, and it's been in pilot in Sweden for how long? Have you been testing it?
2 months, roughly.
2 months, and share your video with friends, share your Wi-Fi network with friends and friends of friends automatically, if that didn't come across in the presentation. Thoughts?
I think it's very interesting. I'm sure by the show of hands, lots of people have this very problem. My only question for you is, what made you choose Facebook as the social network, and why not something like the address book in the, on the phone, or LinkedIn, or any other social graph?
We actually support both Facebook and the address book. So it's up to the user if they want to use Facebook or if they want to use the contact list.
Wonderful.
question. How do you build a monopoly doing this? That's what I want to know.
The monopoly?
How do you build a monopoly doing this? How do you basically become the default platform for doing this to the whole world?
Right.
Yeah, well, there are actually several ways. First of all, we're going to be so much quicker than everybody else into scaling this network and making it ubiquitous, have everybody install Instabridge. Second,
Why will everyone want to install it, as opposed to a competitor's product? That's really kind of what I'm getting to.
Well, I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a while now. We've been beta trialing into Sweden. For example, I know that one person in 4 that is using Instabridge today invites 10 people. So that's a pretty good number. And I mean, we've been working with the users for the past 6 months, like testing the app, making sure that we get the virality right, and we get as many users as quickly as possible.
What you can add to this is also the fact that we have an IP pending.
Is the idea mainly around the use case of sharing when you're actually in a friend's residence, or is it becoming part of a big public network where you don't have to buy a 3G or a 4G card?
Well, it's up to you, right? Like, either you share a network just with your friends, you can share it with your friends of friends, or with the whole Instabridge community if you don't get access to everybody else that's sharing with the Instabridge community. So it's really up to the network owner to decide who gets to use that network.
How you make sure that your friends are not consuming all your bandwidth, that you are being left with something?
You make sure that you have good friends.
Now, do you use 2 SSIDs or these sort of things, or not necessarily?
Yeah. Did you say 2 SSIDs?
Yeah.
So if you have 2 SSIDs, then we recommend that you share your guest ID, right? But it's up to you. I mean, you have to trust the people that you share with.
But also, you are in charge of who gets to use your network. So in case you see that I'm using your network and your network speed is so slow, you can just kick me out, and I will immediately hop over to 3G instead.
And aren't you afraid that Wi-Fi will go out of favor?
If it will go out of, like, not be popular anymore?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, all the data that we see...
No.
Yeah.
This is a Middle Eastern question.
Great. Okay, let's...
Just a minute, one more question. Can you tell us a little bit about your background of the 2 of you?
Sure. Background. Okay, so we're both engineering backgrounds. We both have that. I also have a finance background. I've worked in the finance industry for like 4 or 5 years before jumping ship and starting Instabridge.
Yeah. So my background, I'm a telecom guy. I used to work for Ericsson for 5 years. And that's actually where I learned this problem, that like there was Wi-Fi everywhere, but people didn't use it because it was so difficult to use it.
I have a question. Why is it that...
You are not a judge.
Fair point. No, seriously. Why is it that I can't simply say, why don't you ask people when they join, in order to join, you have to be willing to share your Wi-Fi with friends of friends, because then the network would get really big really quick. If you have somebody like Robert Scoble with 5,000 friends on Facebook, all of a sudden he joins, they're all joined. Wouldn't that grow it a lot bigger? This idea that you have to request each time seems like unnecessary friction.
No, the thing is that like we were planning to do that, but then when we launched our beta trial, people were sharing with so many people anyway, like that we didn't see the need like to push them to do that. Like people are doing that anyway.
You showed us on Android,
right?
Correct.
Yeah.
On iOS, are you able to replace or circumvent the native Wi-Fi finder?
Yeah, I mean, we can do pretty much everything that we do on Android. There's a couple of extra steps on iOS. For example, we can't listen to nearby Wi-Fi networks. We have to use geolocation instead. But we tested that, and it works. I mean, not as great as Android, but it's good enough, I would say.
Tell me, the ISPs allow it in their terms of service, or?
Sorry, again, please?
The ISPs, which connect to the homes where the Wi-Fi is installed, are they allowing it in the term of service, this sharing?
I mean, I can't speak for every single ISP in the world, right? Like everybody has different terms of service, but typically the restriction is on providing commercial access, so actually selling your access to somebody, and that we are not doing.
Awesome. Let's hear it for Instabridge.
Thank you.
And please welcome to the stage.
Guys, they are offering you free Wi-Fi and you are not uploading enough. Try it better. Try again to upload for the free Wi-Fi.